All right, this is going to be my final conclusions and review of the Kubey Royal. Now, this was sent to me by the company, and it was one of the ones that I thought was particularly interesting. I didn't have any preconceived notions about it. So it is a D2 knife in a modified sheep's foot design. It has a very large cutout, and I believe it is a hollow grind, which I like quite a bit. It is a front flipper as well. It is on bearings. It uses G10 scales with a reversible pocket clip, and it comes in just under 3-inch blade, just under. Now, this has got to be one of my favorite knives that I have touched in the last 6 months. I think in some ways this has more alluring qualities than some of the knives that are upwards of the $300 mark. It's perfectly centered. It's incredibly comfortable in the hand. It has the right kind of pocket clip. It has recessed screws, minimalist design work, especially when it's closed. And I like it a lot. A lot. This is actually one of my favorite budget knives that I have actually touched. So at the $60 price point, about $58 right now, I think it's a very, very good knife. Is it a phenomenal deal? I don't know about that. Where I'd like to see this is just about the $50 price point. I think that's where it's like it's golden. But I cannot deny that I just adore this. For some reason, this is one of the best front flippers that I've ever used. I think it's because there is so much texturing on the back of the blade that no matter what I do, I always end up getting the deployment. Because the moment I hit past the pivot, it just flicks right open. Now, on top of the ability to use it in a front flipper, you can of course reverse flick. But what I like is you can actually easily deploy with your thumb as well. Having 3 different forms of deployment is phenomenal. And because it does not have a normal flipper tab, you can actually use the tip and get down where you actually are working without having something hitting the table or whatever you're working on. There are only 2 qualms I have with this thing. 2 qualms. 1 qualm? Maybe 2. Okay, 2. And 1 is preference. A lot of people, I think, prefer D2. And I don't blame them. You know, you're all about the edge retention. Good on you. For me, the steel I look for in a budget knife is 14C28. Now, I know they're starting to do that. So if they ever make this knife in 14C28, you better believe I'm going to be buying it, because I absolutely enjoy the heck out of the design on this thing. It comes insanely sharp. In fact, I haven't sharpened it, and I've been using it a little bit. Yeah, very sharp, and they did a pretty good job on the heat treat. I haven't seen any chipping or anything like that, and it's working great. So there's not much to say. It's just a really good offering. The same thing is true with the Kubey here, the Royal, as is with most knives that I see, is that a lot of times I feel they're a little over-branded. This one's not as bad as many. It has the Kubey symbol on the pivot, and for me, if it has this, then it shouldn't have this, right? Because imagine how clean this would look right now without that, right? Just imagine it, how clean, the perfect black and raw jade transition, perfect. It's okay that we have this right here, like the designer. It's okay to have that on the back, but then you always have the show side. And I think that's particularly nice. On top of the fact that there are only 2 screws on this thing, just the pivot and the back, this open design with recessed liners. A lot of this was done very, very, very well. Easy access to that thumb tab with a slightly bigger cutout. It is thicker than a lot of other knives, so it lends itself to being very comfortable in the hand, and I can get a full 4-finger grip. This is a winner for me. I think it's just a little expensive, but I don't think you necessarily need to drop the price if you include a carrying case. So what I would suggest they do is, if they do continue to sell these knives, just start offering it with a soft case that can protect the knife so that you can keep this kind of knife in good condition long term. It's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference, and you don't have to decrease the price to do it. This knife at $58 in D2 with G10 and the bearings and everything else with a carrying case, I think is a great setup. Just get rid of the branding, please. It's that little bit, that little extra. Now, what I like is they do not indicate the model, which I am way for. I think that's a really good thing that they don't include the model, because you want every opportunity for people to go searching for the knife that they want. Maybe you don't like this knife, and that's perfectly fine. But maybe it entices you enough, or you see something in it enough that makes you want to go at least check out the brand. And maybe you find something that they do make that does appeal to you. Maybe you like the cleaver style knife, etc. So I think that not keeping the model, I think, is a great thing. So generally, I love it. The action on this is phenomenal. The blade shape is excellent. All the little details. And it's just a good knife. I would not be unhappy with this at all. So thanks again for Kubey to send this out. I hope they change this to 14C. That would just make my day. Then I would be very, very happy. I love the black wash too. Not a DLC, black wash. Much, much nicer. Anyway, you guys have a really good day, and we'll talk again soon.